kids on the spectrum, kids with ADHD, toddlers, teenagers, pretty much any child would benefit from the use of a visual timer. If you don't own a visual timer, today is your day, because I am going to give you 10 different uses for a visual timer that will quite possibly change your routine, your week, your life, and I am not being dramatic. This is literally the one tool that I would recommend to parents to get in their homes ASAP. Number 1, brushing teeth. When kids brush their teeth, they go real fast. They're like, bada bing, bada boom, I'm done. And you're like, you're not done. And then you try to explain, I haven't taken enough time. And they don't understand the concept of time. So set up a sand timer in the bathroom so that while they're brushing their teeth, it's exactly the 2 minutes that's needed for good dental hygiene. Number 2, mealtime or snack. Kids are always so hungry. I'm starving, even though you just fed them an entire meal that they ate 2 bites of. I know you know what I'm talking about. And they constantly want the next snack. You can set a timer for the next time a meal or a snack is going to be, so that eliminates the use of when's the next whatever. You just look at the timer, it's not time yet. And that brings me to number 3. It's also a waiting one. It's car rides. If you've ever been stuck with kids in a car, you will hear the phrase, "Are we there yet?" 8,000 times. And it gets very frustrating because you keep saying, well, we're not there yet, we're not, and then suddenly you blow up because you've had enough, okay? Or you start ignoring them and then they get louder. Oh my gosh, it is tough. What I do is I actually bring my visual timer with me in the car, and I set it for the 1 hour, especially if it's a road trip or we're going long distances. And at that 1 hour mark, either we're stopping for a stretch break, we're stopping for a stretch break, we're stopping for a meal of some sort, or it could represent that's when we're going to play our next game or our activity in the car. So it eliminates the use of, are we there yet? Number 4, timers can be used for screen time. If your child is on the spectrum or has ADHD, or really is just a child, they sometimes get glued to their technology. And then when we abruptly come over to them to say, okay, time's up, and they're in the middle of some game on Roblox, they get extremely irritated. Maybe they even throw their technology if they are having a tantrum, and no one wins. And what I also do is, as the timer's approaching the end and the color is getting to the end, I will even come closer to my child and be like, oh, I noticed the timer's getting there. So whatever game you're on, finish that game. I wouldn't start a new one. Which brings me to number 5, free time. Any free time, whether it's playing with Play-Doh. For me, I actually have 2 kids, so we do a lot of like sibling playtime that's scheduled here and there. And whenever I do that, there are times when my oldest child is like, because the youngest one wants to do different things than her. And so I get it. So I will set a timer so that she knows this is not going to go on forever. There is an end to this. It allows her some ability to, okay, I'm going to enjoy this moment. It's not forever. Number 7, sequence. They have these really cool clocks, and I did the research because, on this channel, I break it down so you don't have a breakdown. I personally don't have this timer, and I love it. And if I had a child who needed it, I would for sure order it. It's this timer here. It has various colors. So if your child is struggling with sequence, let's say that you're like, okay, it's time to take a bath. It's bath time. So what do we do during bath time? Well, we wash our hair and we wash our body. Like, there's multiple steps. What you can do is use these colored timers where each color represents a different step. You could even add in, and this is depending on the severity of what your child needs. Some kids don't need this and other kids need more. So I know it sounds like a lot of work, but if your child is struggling with sequence, you might want to actually print just some clip art of a shampoo bottle and like a little clip art of body wash, and then put it next to the colors on the clock, and then also be near them while they're doing this sequence, and then slowly backing away. because as you probably know, if you have a child on the spectrum, is building that independence is essential. Number 8, transitions. If you're a teacher, you know this, or if you've been in a classroom, you know this, that many classrooms are set up with centers at some point in the day, and the kids have a certain amount of time at each center. That if they do not complete their work during the timer, you have a special place where they put their unfinished work. This is a cause of so many tantrums and outbursts and meltdowns with children, is when they do not beat the timer and they did not finish. It's very overwhelming. So if you do want to use it for transitions, make sure that you have a bin or a place where unfinished work goes, or come back later, or whatever you want to call it, so that they have this peace of mind of, yes, I didn't finish this, and that's okay, and I will finish it later. Number 9, intentionally teaching patience. This is a good one if your child is interrupting you while you're talking to your partner or a friend. So this could be something that you'd role play. You would set a timer. Maybe you want to use the sand timer that they can look at as it's coming down. They even have these little like bubble timers where the colors come down and kind of looks like a lava lamp. And you are going to practice with your child being patient. So you're going to tell them that you're going to practice it. You're going to set it up in the kitchen or wherever you want to talk to your partner. And you are going to praise when they are successful. So you're going to tell them, I'm going to set up a timer, and you're going to make it very, very small, especially if they're young. And then if they don't interrupt you and your partner within that amount of time, it's like, oh my gosh, you were patient. You waited until mommy and daddy were talking, or whoever you're talking to. And then continue to reinforce that. The final one, number 10, is the one I use all the time because it's attached to me. I am the timer. When my kids are getting in the car, my youngest will do anything but get in the car. Like, all I want him to do is just, okay, you imagine, let's go. And then everybody nicely puts on their shoes and gets their backpack ready and gets in the car seat and buckles. It never goes like that, right? I'll just start counting out loud, 10, 9, and then all of a sudden he'll like race. And then if he gets in and there's still 4 seconds left on the clock, I'll go, whoa, you still had 4 seconds on the clock. I wasn't even done counting down. Cautions. If you haven't already seen my video on temperaments, you might want to check that out, because anything that's involved on my channel is going to be individual. Your child has a different temperament than perhaps your other child if you have multiple children, and then other people's kids. If your child is not competitive and you see that they get more anxious when you're counting down, give them more power, meaning that they set the timer. So you ask them, if obviously it's developmentally appropriate, how long do you think you need to clean the room? And if they're super young and they don't understand time, you can relate it to something that they do understand, like an episode of My Little Pony, or referencing something that they understand the beginning and end of, so that they know how long that is. And that also be there alongside as they're going through the timer, so that it's not like we set the timer and then the timer goes off and then I freak out. So like I said earlier, with coming near them, guiding them through that, like, okay, well, right now you see how we're about halfway through the timer. We should be about halfway through cleaning. Our goal as parents is not to produce perfect children. Our goal as parents is to teach them to be independent. So it's not about beating the clock. It's not about finishing the task in 2 minutes. It's truly about teaching them time management and teaching them self-control and all of these skills that we want them to use later on in life. Children thrive in structured, predictable environments. This does not mean that we will not have free, unstructured time, because we want to lean into those creative moments. But in general, a day-to-day basis in your home, if it is structured and predictable, you will have less problems. Timers take away the uncertainty and they give a sense of control back to your child. I hope this helped you. I hope this changes your life as much as I really think it will. Remember, as always, that this is individual. Look at how you can incorporate it in your life and see where it would help your specific child. You do not need to do all 10. Start small, and remember, as always, that practice makes progress, not perfect. And I'll see you next time.